Magic the Gathering has just experienced one of the biggest leaks the game has ever seen. Commander Legends Baldur's Gate has had over 60 different cards spoiled, showcasing a bunch of new mechanics for the game and the new dungeon. On top of that, this all may be the result of criminal actions.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have some mega magic news on our hands, specifically the Baldur's Gate leak. This thing is massive. There are so many cards that we're going to need to cover them in a live stream over on my other channel where we'll go through everything in depth. So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the new mechanics. I'm going to show you some of the spoiler cards that represent those mechanics and concepts for the set, and then we'll dive into the main meat in the live stream, all right? So the idea, if you didn't know, basically the story that's being told, somebody opened these cards up on TikTok, got their hands on collector boosters that somebody else took out of the production facility. So somebody working for a printer for Wizards of the Coast took these packs, gave them to somebody else who then opened them and posted videos online. And voila, we have the following. First thing we're going to talk about is initiative, all right? So initiative is a ability, obviously, that ties into Dungeons and Dragons, and it works very similarly to the Monarch mechanic from Conspiracy. So basically it says, if one or more creatures a player controls deals combat damage to you, that player takes the initiative. Whenever you take the initiative and at the beginning of your upkeep, venture into the Undercity, all right? And up on the screen, you're going to see the Undercity as well, so we can talk about that. Now, the idea with initiative, obviously, is to take the dungeon concept and take it to the next level, right? Because dungeons really did not do well with the first Dungeons & Dragons set, but Wizards of the Coast wants to breathe some more life into it. Now, bear in mind that you can only venture into the Undercity with initiative. So, what is the Undercity? You can't enter this dungeon unless you venture into Undercity. So, you can't use the venture ability from the previous Dungeons & Dragons set with this, which feels weird because it's like Wizards is trying to make dungeons more of a thing, but they're not allowing them to play together. Now let's go through what the card actually does. So this dungeon starts at the secret entrance. You search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So straight off, you're getting a land to accelerate your plan. This already feels bigger than any of the entrance abilities we've seen on any of the other dungeons. Obviously, they don't want you to be able to venture into this as easily. Then you can choose to either go Forge, put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature, or Lost Well Scry 2. After that, you can either go Trap, target player loses 5 life, Arena, goad target creature, Stash, create a treasure token. And then that leads to the Archives or the Catacombs, either draw a card or create a 4/1 black skeleton creature with Menace. And then the final is Throne of the Dead 3. Reveal the top 10 cards of your library, put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters on it. It gains hexproof until your next turn. So, looking at this dungeon, we can see the power level on it has been greatly improved. If you were to go back and look at the previous dungeons, you would see that the effects are weaker. This one starts out with stronger effects and goes all the way through. You can literally go, grab a basic land, put 2+1/+1 counters on one of your creature, make your opponent lose 5 life, draw a card, then basically put a creature card from the top 10 cards of your library straight into play with 3+1/+1 counters on it. It gets hexproof. And remember, with the initiative, this is going to be going back and forth, right? Either I'm going to take the initiative from you and I'm going to get to go into the Undercity, or if you can't take the initiative from me, then every upkeep, I'm going to get to continue my journey through this. So Wizards has found a way to push up the power level of the dungeon and also move you through the dungeon in a more, I guess in a quicker capacity. Really, they've kind of amped up the power level. So we'll see if they've hit the sweet spot or if this Undercity is actually going to be the bane of Commander Legends. Now, luckily enough, this isn't a standard set, so we won't see this kind of mucking about in standard. It'll just kind of get shoved into Commander, and we'll see how they react to it. Because as far as I understand, the original dungeons made no impact on Commander overall, and we saw that Wizards considered Venture to be a failure because when they did the alchemy nerfs and boosts, they boosted every single card that had to do with dungeons. And that's a pretty telling situation overall in terms of the success of a mechanic when you feel like you need to rework it. So this is the new variation of dungeons that we're looking at. Let us move on now to another crazy concept, choosing a background. On the screen, you're going to see Raised by Giants, 1 green and 5 for a legendary enchantment background, okay? Now, we don't know a ton about backgrounds yet. All we've seen are the enchantments that have the subtype background, and we have seen cards that say choose a background. As of yet, we don't know what choosing a background means. We don't know if that means go through your deck for a background card. We don't know if it means take a background card you own from outside the game. We don't know if you set background cards alongside your deck the same way you would set companion cards. So in terms of exactly what you do with a background, it's not clear. I'm not sure if you can put one out for free when you choose a background, but you can also include them as your deck as an enchantment. I have a lot of questions about this, specifically because this one's super exciting to me. 6 mana enchantment. The idea is that it makes commander creatures you own have base power and toughness, 10/10, and are giants in addition to their other types. So as far as I understand, it's basically commander creatures you own. So this is going to make any commanders that you put onto the board, if you're playing partners, it's going to be both of your commanders, right? They're going to be 10/10s. So if you have some little donk who's like a 0/1 partner, whatever, now he's a 10/10. That is Beefcake City, right? I'm not sure if this applies to them when they're in the command zone as well, because I don't know exactly like how backgrounds are applied, but the flavor idea behind this is supposed to be in Dungeons and Dragons, you would choose a background for your character. And there are a variety of these backgrounds that we will look at when we go over them in the stream. But this one is you were raised by giants. So you have this insane titanic strength, right? Like if you actually look at the artwork, you think, oh, trained by giants. Great. What is this guy doing? Is he using like a big pole arm or something? And then you kind of go and you go, wait a minute. He is literally putting out a giant's candle. The giant's like done for the night or whatever, and it's like, put out the candle. And so he picks up the gigantic candle dousing instrument, gets up on the desk, I could do this. And that's how you become 10/10, by basically being raised by giants and doing the menial tasks of cleaning up around the house. That is genuinely fun, right? So, guess what? They've decided to try and make Dragon's Maze more relevant. Isn't that wild? Let me show you the newest style of gates. This is Cliffgate, all right? And it's a land that counts as a gate. If you weren't around for the days of Dragon's Maze is where we got the concept of gates. You had the 10 different gates. They made up this crazy mystical maze, I should say. But there was also a land that said if you have 10 gates out, you win the game. And there were other cards that cared about gates as well, right? But honestly, that was where the concept originally came from. And we've seen some more gate love, but this is the first time we've seen it aimed specifically at commander players, right? And I've noticed when they make new toys for commander players are great for going back into the past and digging up all kinds of other toys too. So these gates could easily lead to a resurgence in Dragon Maze love. And Dragon's Maze is one of the worst sets they've ever made. So getting a little bit more love for it and having more cards in it be a little more relevant to people is a win in my book. Now, these gates are 2 colors, but you get to choose one of the colors. So they each operate the same way. They enter the battlefield tapped. As they enter the battlefield, you choose a color other than the main color. So for this Cliffgate, the main color is red. It already taps for a red mana. You choose another color, and it taps for a red mana or a mana of the chosen color. So these are pretty versatile, come into play dual style lands, right? You can easily slap a whole range of these into your deck. You're not locked into the 2 color combinations automatically like we saw before with the Ravnica Align. You've got your Azorius Guildgate, you've got your Simic Guildgate. These are ones that are set in Dungeons and Dragons locations. So this is the Cliffgate. I'm not sure exactly, like, is this like at the edge of Baldur's Gate? I don't know the proximity, the location or whatever, but the flavor text makes me curious because it says a partition between the hopeless living and the restless dead. And here's the thing. This gate by itself may not be that exciting, but when you see Nine Fingers Keen and you realize they've made a commander, a legendary dude for gates, you may change your opinion. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black, and 1 gets you a 4/4 legendary human rogue with menace. With ward, pay 9 life. You want to target Nine Fingers Keen? Pay 9 life. I love it. Missing a finger, got that 9 concept, gonna apply it to ward. I just love gigantic, dumb ward numbers, right? Especially when it's life. You want to pay half your life to target this guy? So, whenever Nine Fingered Keen deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 9 cards of your library. So many cards, right? I mean, we're talking about Commander here, so you got a 100 card deck. So I feel like 9 cards is like the equivalent of looking at 5 or 6 on a regular card. So look at the top 9 cards of your library. You may put a gate card from among them onto your battlefield. Then, if you control 9 or more gates, put the rest into your hand. Otherwise, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is pretty bonkers to me, right? At first you go, okay, I'm just going to look at the top 9, pick a gate and put it into play. But then it goes, oh, wait, do you have 9 gates? Great, here you go. Have the other 8 cards straight into your hand. Draw a full mitt, and you're not even drawing them. You're putting them directly into your hand. Oh, are you going to try and tax me for treasure tokens with this? Nah. I don't have to pay for these draws. I don't have to deal with any of that. I'm bypassing it all. Nine Fingers Keen is coming in the back door going, yo, I got a sack full of treasure for you, son. I've been swinging by the gates. I got everything. I love the 999 concept of this card, right? Is it 999? You've got the 9 for the ward, you've got the 9 for the card you're looking at, and you've got the 9 for the gates in play, right? Yeah, 999 action. So this is a really cool Lord concept, and you can see in the artwork, there's Keen just wandering through obviously what looks like one of the gates, which is great flavor, and you can see from the hand resting on the blade there, looks like missing little bit of the, what is it, the pinky? Yeah, it looks like the pinky's missing. I don't know if that's like folded there, but I think it's supposed to be prominently displayed. Overall, a funky card. It's got a very peaceful vibe overall as well. Like Keen's just unknown. Like Keen, I assume, is some really well-known thief because I'm not familiar with this name, and I'm assuming that when it comes to legendary characters for Baldur's Gate, they're going to be using pre-existing characters. Why wouldn't they, right? So there are a number of other abilities that we see, and they are basically making a return, right? So if you remember the basic lands that had the flavor, like the flavor text where they described what was going on in that part of the world, that is back. Have to say I'm a huge fan of that. Now that Wizards has turned to making so many full art lands that don't have full art but have actual flavor text are genuinely interesting to me. We don't normally get a lot of that in the game. And on top of that, they're also bringing back that flavor word concept. For example, when they have a cleric that comes into play that will like give you life or whatever, it will have the ability to like cure wounds or whatever Dungeons and Dragons style ability feels right. Makes perfect sense. Venture into the dungeon obviously is making a return as well. It remains to be seen whether it's fully 100% into the Undercity or if there are actual regular venture cards too. I saw most of the spoilers yesterday when we basically had them dumped on our head in the middle of the night, but it turns out there's more cards. So I haven't even seen all of them fully, and we're going to be going over all of them when we get over to the live stream there. So I'm not sure exactly if we're going to see full-on venture to support previous Dungeons and Dragons stuff. We're going to see more D20, rolling that D20 cards with crazy variability. Some of the abilities I've already seen are pretty powerful. We're seeing Throne of Eldraine's adventure ability actually coming into play with the storybook side where you cast it as a storybook spell, and then on the other side you get the regular spell. And there's one where there's an Illithid turning people into horrors by putting these little like tadpoles inside them or whatever. You want to see that one, you got to come over to the stream because it's pretty wild. We'll go over it. But anyways, let me continue to the next ability. They're bringing back Myriad as well. Myriad being that ability that when you swing at one player, it'll make a copy of the creature and swing at all players. Obviously, that is a prime commander ability, so it makes perfect sense to include it. And another perfect sense prime commander ability is Goad, the one that says, yo, that guy's got to attack next turn, but can't attack me. So that is also going to be included in the Commander Legend set, probably to no one's surprise. But like I said, we've got over 60 cards to go over. It's going to take a fair bit of time to cover all the cards individually, which is why I'm not doing it in this video for you guys. So if you'd like to see it, up on the screen is a link to my Hatcher channel where I am doing the live stream going over the cards, all right? So you're welcome to come by and check it out or watch it afterwards if you want. I'll leave a link up here to some Magic the Gathering lore in case you'd rather watch that over on Fantasy Geographic. But either way, thanks for coming by. This is an absolutely insane situation, and I will see you, my friends, either in the stream or next time.